Get in, lads. Javier Aguirre's first Mexico squad has officially been announced, and this is going to be our official reaction to it. We actually haven't read it. We haven't seen it or anything since it came out last night, so this is our real, genuine, legitimate reaction, which we're going to give you guys. I'm going to say all the players on this list for Andres, and then we're going to go position by position afterwards, talking about each one of them. But before we get into it, if you guys want more Mexican national team content, make sure to subscribe down below and comment your thoughts on this squad release and reaction, because we want to hear everything you guys are saying. I'm just playing the piano over there. We want to hear everything you guys are saying, and let us know what you guys think about Javier Aguirre's first squad. So, ready, Andres?
Yep.
26-man squad? Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
In goal, Malagon.
Okay, not a shocker.
And Alex Padilla, which I like a lot, from Bilbao, 20 years old. In defense, Julian Araujo from Bournemouth, Alan Mozo from Chivas, Israel Reyes from Club America, Cesar Montes from Almeria, Johan Vasquez from Genoa, Victor Guzman from Monterrey, Jesus Angulo from Tigres, and Jesus Gallardo from Toluca. Once I started saying it, I knew. Here we go. Midfield. Okay. Luis Romo from Cruz Azul, Fidel Ambriz from Monterrey, Eric Lira from Cruz Azul, Carlos Rodriguez from Cruz Azul, that's Charlie, Luis Chavez from Dinamo Moscow, Sebastián Cordova from Tigres, and Orbelín Pineda from Athens. Okay, solid. Forwards.
Okay.
Here we go. Ooh. Diego Lainez from Tigres, Julian Quiñones from Alcacia, Roberto Alvarado, Marcelo Flores, which I like, Gino Huerta from Pumas, Guillermo Martinez from Pumas, Santi Jimenez from Feyenoord, and Henry Martin from Club America. A lot of interesting ins and outs there. I like. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before we started recording, my suspicion was Edson Alvarez was not in the squad.
Yeah.
Because West Ham didn't post anything about him when all the other national teams squads got selected.
Yeah.
Not a shock. I think that's kind of not surprised. I think another one based on reports was Memo Ochoa not being in the squad. Because it was rumored Aguirre was going to bring him back. He did. The one report was correct. He brought Gallardo back.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Arteaga was not in the squad. Correct.
Too. Arteaga was not in the squad. I know. I was going to mention that too.
Tough. And
you know who else is on the squad? And Aaron's going to like this one. Jorge Sanchez. Jorge Sanchez is not in the squad, which I like. Instead, they have Alan Mozo from Chivas, which I do like a lot. I'm 7 years old.
It's just so. I mean, look, it's a friendly. Diego Lainez, I will say.
Diego Lainez, I like a lot.
I do like a lot. I'm happy he's back in the squad. I mean, he had to pull out of it due to injury in the Copa America. Could have made a difference there. But
like Marcelo Flores here too. Henry Martin I'm not too upset about, because he does do really good for Liga MX. In terms of Mexico's strike force around the world, there's not many options I put in front of him right now. So that's why I'm okay with it.
I'd put Vega. Alexis Vega. Personally. I think he's more versatile. He's more versatile. Personally,
yeah,
for me.
But do you need versatility? I mean, you need strikers. The only other striker you really have is you have Santi as your main guy, of course, but
yeah, I'm just saying he can play out wide. I don't know. Like, I think with the new squad, like, it's a bit different changes, some changes, but I mean, I think the squad overall kind of shows like the talent pool that we do have is lacking, because it's a pretty similar squad. You know, certain players got subbed out, mainly bench players. You could probably argue are changed out. Goalkeeping situation, now that's interesting.
I like this goalkeeper situation a lot, is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
3 goalkeepers is really good, and the average age among them is 23.6.
Ooh.
I like that.
Oh, did you math?
Sorry. No, some stats. No. I mean, I am Asian, but that's okay. You know, it's
I thought you did the math behind the scenes and you had it ready.
No. Sorry, I pulled it from somewhere else. But I love Alex Padilla being here, because Alex Padilla is the future goalkeeper of the Mexican national team. I don't know if you've watched any of his Bilbao performances in the first couple games.
I heard about it.
He's conceded some goals, yes, but he's made some really good saves, especially against Barcelona. He made a really good save.
I chuck him in the starting lineup. That's all I see now.
At this point, I don't see a reason why you really need to start Malagon or Rangel above Padilla. You might as well just give it to him. Malagon, I mean, they're not Memo, right? If it's Memo,
no one will be Memo.
No one will be Memo, but Alex Padilla has a chance to be the next Memo. You know what I mean? He's 20 years old. You might as well give it to him.
I mean, there's no
solid.
I mean, sub him in halftime. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's a friendly. It's like it's New Zealand. Like, you might as well, just throw him in.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing you can mention too of a player not being here is Noah Antuna. Antuna's here,
dude. Don't make me do the step overs again. Don't make me.
I'm entirely happy he's not here.
I won't have to. Now no one has to see that. But yeah, I'm glad. I'm finally someone came to their senses, Aguirre, and said no Antuna. He adds literally nothing to the squad. You think he's fast, but like he's not fast. You know what I mean? Like he looks fast. He looks quick, but in reality, when he goes up against other people, he's not that fast. He never blows past anyone.
With him. It's pure vibes with him at this point.
Pure crosses with him. That's all he cares about.
And the other wingers that they called up, I really do enjoy more. I mean, I think Diego Lainez, I much prefer him over Antuna in the Mexican national team.
I agree, yeah.
Quinones, I do. Chino Huerto, I do. Even Alvarado from Chivas, I do.
Oh, I call him Rico.
All 4 of those, yeah, because he looks like Rico. But all of those players, I do agree, should deserve it over him. One player that I'm interested in not seeing here, and I think he kind of deserves a spot here, is Chucky Lozano. I get it. He's moving to MLS,
start, though.
He's had a great start to the season at PSV in the Netherlands. I think he deserves to be here. I don't know over which player, but I think he deserves to be here.
Personally, if I had to pick someone, just because he doesn't really added a whole lot since he's come to the national team.
I would argue he does. I would argue that when he comes in, he does a good amount for the team, and he also he's had a really good start over in Saudi Arabia. I think his debut he scored a brace.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, he played in Saudi.
Yeah, so I do think he still deserves to be here. So I don't know who I'd put Chucky over, but I think Chucky's name should be involved at least a little bit. But and I hate to flip flop so much. Left back though, Gallardo's going to be the starter, and that bothers me so much. Gallardo and Anguilla.
I thought his time was up.
The left backs. It should be. He is part of that. He's part of the old guard that we mentioned so often. With the players that you think when you think of Mexico, you think of them.
Yeah,
he's part of that team. He shouldn't be here. I mean, over him and Anguilla, over Arteaga, over Gonzalez, over even Omar Campos from LAFC, who's been absolutely fantastic on a left back spot. I don't really think they deserve to be here, and I really do think, and I hope it changes for the October window against the USA. I'm a USA fan first and foremost. I would love to play against Gallardo. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think Gallardo should. If Gallardo's starting against the USA, something's wrong. Something's wrong there. You can't accept that. For me, it's a comfortable pick for Javier. It's a very comfortable pick. But I don't understand how you can look at the Copa America, watch Copa America, and not at least bring on Arteaga. I thought he was great. He had his moments, don't get me wrong, but I thought he was great.
I mean, for being starting, like I think he did a pretty good job. I mean, with all the circumstances, I don't think anyone had like an amazing tournament on the squad, of course. But I mean, I think he was a positive you could take away, saying like, okay, this guy has potential here. Just got to get him more minutes with the team. But a little step backwards, I would say, in the left back position.
Absolutely.
But a step forward, right back position. We briefly mentioned it, but Araujo, right back, definitely has to start. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Starting right back, a competent right back. Finally, we don't have Jorge Sanchez anymore, so that's nice. Maybe you could have put Jorge on the left if you really wanted to try and figure out that left side.
You could, but he's not going to.
Yeah. But you always could. You could have brought him, but I understand why you didn't. But I saw Araujo. West Ham did play Bournemouth. Araujo did play a little bit. He looked good. He looked good. Unfortunately,
he's a competent right back. Yeah? He's a competent right back. Like I said, I'm very happy Jorge Sanchez isn't here. Araujo should be starting. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think also the biggest miss is probably Edson, but I feel like that can be explained with injury.
Yeah, that's understandable.
So it's not even like why is he not here? Pretty easy decision there, especially bringing someone else because he's probably not going to be able to play a whole lot in this September not transfer window. Oof, I'm thinking about the transfer window. The international break. Just because he's just getting back. He started last night against Bournemouth, but came off in the 60th minute. Just a precaution. No need to rush him into anything.
Absolutely.
But it's gonna be interesting to see him with this team without him. As we saw it in the Copa America, but we only saw it briefly in 2 games, really. So it's going to be interesting to see how Aguirre handles that situation. Who's going to be the holding midfielder? Is it going to be Luis Chavez like it was last?
It's probably Luis Romo. I mean, that's
he's so shit, though. I know, but he's so shit.
He had a solid Copa America. As much as we don't like him, he was man of the match for one game, for one of the matches.
Yeah, but it was a shite game. Like, I don't know. It's just
you hate Luis Romo in the way I hate Jorge Sanchez.
No. But like Luis Chavez, like had to help him out so much. You know what I mean? Like Luis Chavez is good going forward. Like we saw that in the World Cup when he was when we were especially attacking more because we needed those points against Saudi Arabia. But like he's good in that like not 10 position, but more of the advanced midfielder position. He's able to pick out passes. That's what he needs. But like because of Edson Alvarez missing out, he had to drop back a bit more and play deeper, and that was kind of I think was our issue going from defense to attack, because we had no one to be able to play that outlet to our forwards. Right. So I mean, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how he lines up. Also, fucking Charly Rodriguez. Oh my fuck. Dude, you're telling me there's no other Mexican international in Mexico anywhere in the world right now that isn't better than Charly Rodriguez, because he's going to start. Like I already know he's going to start. Pineda, I mean, kind of indifferent on him. Honestly, it depends on the day for him. Most of the time, it's shit.
I mean, in Copa America, I mean, he was not good, to say the least. Diego mentioned it a lot too, and I think Diego was his biggest op.
I mean, valid though. I think it was the most valid op known to man. Just because like the amount of passes he just didn't hit, especially in the role he had. That was his job, was to find that outlet ball, to find that ball into our attackers, and he just kept fucking it up. And I don't think he ever got a single one right. Which killed us a lot of the time.
This midfield, looking at the players on here, it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. I think the defense is solid, which is kind of interesting. Like I think in general, the defense looks to be the most solid part of this when you're looking at the team sheet, and that says a lot in terms of a Mexican defense growth, because the past decade, the defense has been without a doubt the weakest part.
Hold on, I'm trying to think of a decade. No, 2014 was solid. 2018 was decent.
In the last decade. But I mean, in comparison to the rest of the team, the center backs in particular were the weakest part. And for them to in this roster, I think they do look really solid, at least, and inspires us somewhat a bit of confidence. But you're right, that midfield, to include Charly Rodriguez and not include somebody like Marcel Ruiz from Toluca, who's been solid for them so far, and he's even been looked at by like French teams. Like I think Toulouse is the team that are looking at him in Ligue 1. To not include him here, but have someone like Charly Rodriguez who doesn't do anything. He brings.
It's like playing with 10 men. Like genuinely, like in the Copa America, it looked like we were playing with 10.
He brings nothing to El. I mean, and you look at like Mexican Twitter, for example. Everybody on Twitter, everybody on social media, everybody who wants to have an opinion, the opinion is that he shouldn't be here. Javier, I don't know what you're looking at. I don't know if he has blackmail on you, but Charly Rodriguez shouldn't be in the Mexican national team. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I don't understand the inclusion of him. If I'm being honest, a whole lot. It doesn't make sense. No, I don't. It doesn't make sense. To me.
I mean, might as well bring another keeper at that point. You know what I mean? Like this. But
genuinely,
like especially, I feel like this Mexican side, like you said, the defense is the strongest point, and our attack is probably the second strongest. But like the thing is like in soccer, like obviously the midfield wins you the game. If you can control that midfield, then it's going to be not smooth sailing, but you're going to have a better chance of winning a game. This midfield ain't it. Like this midfield will not control the game whatsoever. They'll have moments, but they're not going to be able to be like, as soon as we lose the ball, they're not going to be able to win the ball back. They're not going to be strong defensive. Like Jenny, like look at that midfield. It's more attacking midfielders than it is actual, holding box to box midfielders. Like it's the only one who's like a true like CDM is Romo, and even then it depends on his day if he does okay
even then
or
it's
not.
Luis Romo, so
yeah, and all you gotta do is blow straight past him. He's not gonna be able to catch up to you like Edson can. I think the midfield is something that needs to be improved on, or at least looked at. Certain players sub them out, interchange. because it ain't it. And even when Edson is in the squad, it's still not the strongest. Like, he kind of holds it down as best he can, but he can't do everything.
Right.
But yeah, I'm happy with the attack, happy with the defense, except Gallardo, of course. Goalkeepers, I'm surprised Ochoa's not in there just because of all the reports and stuff. But I mean, it is just a friendly, so we'll see what happens there. But I do hope it's Padilla, right?
Padilla, 20-year-old from Bilbao.
Yeah. I hope he gets.
It's very
good
that he's part of this. Yeah,
I really hope. I hope he just doesn't sit on the bench, especially it's New Zealand, and it's not like we're facing these tough opponents. So I hope he gets a look at, especially the form. If we're going off of form, then he should start. Technically speaking, if you want to think,
I would say so. Malagon had a really embarrassing moment the other day in League Cup against Colorado Rapids.
He skied it, no?
I think he went wide. I'm pretty sure. And then something, but he missed it, and Stefan scored on him afterwards, and they lost. Padilla for me starts.
That's tough.
I don't think Javier is going to, because the rumor leading up to this was that Padilla was going to join the under 23 side or the U21 side instead of the senior team. So his inclusion in the senior team is not to say a shock. It shouldn't be a shock, but it maybe just wasn't expected in some capacity. As a result,
I mean, if you think about it,
he's not planning for him a lot. Yeah.
That also just like he kind of like his name's kind of been thrown out there just because of like recent form, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that could be that, but I think I'm looking forward to see how we do, just because this is the first game when they get at the head coach, Rafa Marquez as assistant coach, so it's going to be interesting. But I have low what is it? The fuck
expectations?
Low expectations. Yes. Low expectations for this squad, just because I feel like I'm unrealistic and I get really hyped, and then it doesn't go according to plan, and then I get really disappointed. So I'm having low expectations. I'm not expecting to see like this universal like crazy change between a couple months ago in the Copa America to now. I think it's going to be pretty similar, just because it's pretty similar players, but you never know. Sometimes it's just the manager, you can revolutionize the squad. I hope that's the case, but I doubt it. But we'll see what happens in 2 weeks, a week from now.
Yeah, and the 6th, I think, is the first game. The 5th or the 6th in New Zealand. I'm really interested in watching them this international window. I think New Zealand is a good first test. No, it's not really a test. It shouldn't be a test, and if it is a test, then there's a problem. Yep, but it's definitely a good first game to implement whatever Javier is trying to do with the team, and you should look good. New Zealand is a great game to make Javier and his new team look good, and they should. And if they don't, a lot of questions are going to be asked. But at least with this midfield, it's going to look like they have some bit of team chemistry, some opportunity to work together. But the game against Canada, I think, is going to be a really good game, just because Canada are probably the most informed team in CONCACAF right now in North America. I think it's a really, really good test as well for the USA too, because they play Canada. But Canada-Mexico, I think, is the game to watch this international window for CONCACAF enjoyers. This is the game to watch. I'm not saying they're the most even right now, but this is probably the most even we're going to see them for a while. Or at least this is the most even we've seen them ever. Canada is stepping up, and they've made some good additions. They've made Nico Sigurd, the 20-year-old Croatian who just switched to Canada, is in that midfield, and I'm curious to see how he does play against Mexico's midfield. They don't have Ismael Kone, so it's going to be a very good midfield battle, and I think that Mexico really, really needs to highlight that part of the game against Canada. Defense could look solid, attack could look solid, but if the midfield isn't working, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're big Jamaica supporters on this channel. We watched some Copa America, and Jamaica versus every team, the midfield was the biggest issue, and they looked distraught in the midfield. And I'm only saying that to say that if Mexico has the same problems, it's going to leave them to the same issues with the teams they're facing here. Thankfully, they're not playing in the Nations League. They're not playing World Cup qualifiers. It's just friendlies. They have the opportunity to sit down and relax. But at the same time, you got 2 games, and then you play the USA in October in Mexico, and you need to look good against the USA in Mexico. You absolutely need to. There's no wiggle room. You can't go into the USA game, and if anybody on that team afterwards says, well, we tried, we looked solid, but we didn't get the result, whatever, no. Mexico, you have to get it situated by then. And I'm sorry, I understand it's a new manager. I understand it's a lot of pressure for him and the players, but you have to get this set by then. And if you don't even look solid in Mexico for the first time in years against the USA, it's gonna reaffirm a lot of people's lack of hope for this team.
Mm-hmm. Said perfectly.
I appreciate that. I want to stay very hopeful for this. I really think Javier Aguirre could do something good with his team, but it's his third try, and to go off the last two tries,
baby. That's what I always say.
I guess, but to go off the last two times, I'm not the most hopeful in that scenario. But you never know. It's a decent group of players. There are some very good players in here, not to mention Santi, the defense, Cesar Montes, and Johan Vasquez. There are some good players here. Utilize that, Javier. I mean, you have to do something here. And if you're at least drawing as New Zealand,
not it. No, I could understand a draw against Canada. It kind of depends on how that game goes. But right. New Zealand, it has to be a win. I think if we mentioned the October international break against the United States. I think that's a tester. I think the excuse of saying the new managers kind of thrown out the window, especially in the international scene, just because, look, you don't have the same amount of time as you do with a club manager. So, it's going to be interesting to see that. But I think they have to be firing on all cylinders, unfortunately. Unfortunately for them to not get criticism, especially with this United States game in Mexico. What they should have done is they probably should have pushed that game way later on in the season. A little bit longer, yeah. Instead of, the second international break in the season. So that's a stupid decision, but I guess money. But hey, gotta do what you gotta do. Just hope it's not embarrassing. That's all I ask. That's all.
Absolutely. And I mentioned the midfield, but I do want to see Mexico's attack against Canada too, because Canada has a very underrated defense. Alfonso Davies, what's his name? Moise Bombito, Derek Cornelius from Marseille. I mean, both those two players just moved to Ligue 1 and are starters now for their clubs. Sometimes they have a really, really good defense. Alistair Johnson on the right. Jesus. Canada has a really good defense, and Mexico really has to pull something out to get it going against Canada, because truthfully, Mexico has some really, really solid attackers. No, you can't even hear it. It's okay. Okay. Mexico has some really, really good attackers, and it just doesn't mesh well with each other in the same way that it used to with Chicha Vela, Lozano, those kind of players. It doesn't really mesh well. I really want to see improvements there. I think there could be improvements there, but I guess it really all depends on how the midfield sets them up for it too. So there's a lot of different cogs in this machine that haven't been working for a while now that need to start getting it into gear for Mexico. And I don't know. I don't know if you're going to get 2 wins here. I think you're going to get the win against New Zealand. You're going to get the win against New Zealand, and the game against Canada could flip-flop. It depends on both sides. Canada still has momentum, but depends on the day. You never know. It depends on on the vibes that day, really. I mean, Canada...
It depends on how certain players want to play that day.
Yeah, Canada obviously have the momentum going into these games because of the Copa America. But, club form and international form is very different because they've had... How long? 2 months since the tournament. So it's been a long time. Or a month, whatever. Yeah. It's been a long time for them. So who knows? It's going to be some good games, though. I think if you're open to watching some CONCACAF and you're not a fan of these two teams, watch them. It's going to be a great game. And then I think the USA-Canada game is also going to be very good, but that's that's a topic for the USA release of, whatnot. So
I'll be in that video probably, but boo.
But, Andres, unless you have anything else to add for this Javier Aguirre's first team?
No, it's pretty good. I think we did a really good job of analysis. Cost analysis. You know what I mean? Don't do that.
Analysts.
We're not self-proclaimed.
Yeah. Analysts, yeah. No, we're absolutely not. We just like talking about football. But
unless hold on. I just go off topic.
No,
but CBS, improve your panel, bro, for the Golasso. Oh my god,
Sports Golasso panel.
Yeah, that shit is so bad. You have this MLS guy who talks the dumbest shit. No, like whatever he thinks in his head, he just says. It is honestly the dumbest and cringiest shit ever. Improve that panel. You have a great panel for the Champions League. You do. Just like invest some more money into that panel because I just can't.
Get us in there. Bring in the There We Land kid again. I mean, that kid's great.
That kid is great. You know what? Put him as a host because that guy is shite. I don't know his name. I don't know anything, but he was talking about some dumbass shit last night when I was watching the West Ham game. Yeah, but anyways, that's just what I wanted to say. That's completely off topic.
Thank you, Andres. You
no
had
problem.
to say it. You had to say it. You had to say it.
I had to say it. It was bothering me.
If you've gotten to this point in the video, make sure to leave a like because it helps us out more than you realize. Make sure to leave a comment down below your opinions on Javier Aguirre's first call up to the squad. Is definitely a lot of interesting things to talk about. If you disagree or agree with us, let us know. I'm looking at you, Aaron. We need to know what you think, Aaron. Otherwise, subscribe for more L3 content over the next few weeks, months, years until the World Cup.
Oh,
come on now. And for
2 years.
CONCACAF content in general, we got a lot of stuff planned. So yeah, otherwise that's it for us. We'll see you guys in the next videos. Take care, guys.